this is my BIX 3. Bought it a couple of months ago with the intention of using it to put a GoPro on, but I found that with the conventional GoPro fitments it wasn't up to the job. So I've made this little add-on there. It's a piece of plywood surrounded by some strip wood that I've glued to it, to the size of the base of the GoPro, and into that fits the GoPro, and then over the top of that goes a couple of elastic bands, very lightweight ones. There's a screw here and a screw there to hold it in place, and it saves a lot of weight and also height. It's not just the weight of the GoPro. You put the stands on, it brings the center of gravity way too high, whereas that keeps it nice and small. I popped the GoPro in, but I've only got one, and I'm using it to film this, so you're going to have to use your imagination. On the FPV front, you can probably see that I painted this black. I think it looks better black. I put a little pillar support here to hold that in place, and then that's just velcroed on with the wires going into the inside there. Little microphone here as well that you can probably see, because I fly with audio. I like to be able to hear the motor. I don't have an on-screen display yet, but I think I'm going to get one, because it is my intention to try the easy UHF system. But for the moment I'm using this, and it works fantastic for me. I got this little device here that plugs into your balance plug on your battery, and then this sends the power to your audio-visual transmitter, and it really does smooth out any dirty frequencies or whatever that are spooling through the system, have been picked up and transmitted to your goggles. So my picture is damn near perfect. Flying with a 2200 milliamp hour battery. Just pop that on there like that, snug as a bug in a rug. The other thing that I've done is, obviously I don't use the wheels that fit in there because I like to chuck it. Where I fly, the ground isn't always that terrific. But I put these skids in, cut a little notch into this stuff, and then dropped that into, it's just a piece of timber that I painted black, into that little groove there, and it works great. I've done the same on the rear. The good thing about it is when I land, the EPO, particularly in the winter, which it is now, it's just coming up to Christmas, which is damp, isn't eating away at the base of your EPO model. Looks like I got a piece of black stuck on the bottom there. Yeah, insulation tape. I like the idea as well where the space inside here is quite good. In fact, it's very good for the size of the aeroplane. Where they put the servos out the side here and run them down the side in plastic tube. I think that's an absolutely brilliant idea, because it allows them to give you quite a strong, solid fuselage. I didn't think that the motor was up to much at 200 watts. It's taken me a little bit of getting used to. This motor here was actually encased in EPO. I didn't like the look of that, so I used a sharp box knife, as the Americans call it, and a Stanley knife, as the British call it, and cut away here just to make sure that you can get some cooling to that motor. I used the standard prop. I've had a power meter on it, and it does turn out 200 watts, and having got used to the way that the airplane flies now, it is quite sufficient. Even with a GoPro on, and that 200 watts really gives you good flight time. I would say I could fly up to 15 minutes with a 2200 battery. As an experiment in readiness for my easy UHF, which doesn't get on with this in close proximity, I've taken this out of the airframe and run some longer extension leads to this Futaba 2.4 FA SST system, the fast system, and I've tried it today, and it works great. I've coupled it with this little device here that I bought from Hobby King that gets these antenna up in the air. My intention as well is, even with this 2.4 fast system, is just to increase the range, because it was encased and my signal is, my transmitter area is upright and these were horizontal, folded back. I've flown like that for years with motor gliders and I've never had a problem. So I suppose, as I've said, I'm just trying this out to see, does it increase the range, and B, just to experiment in readiness for the easy UHF system that I've got on order like this. This is, as I've said, my Futaba system. It works great. I've got this little stopwatch here, which I can clear like that, and press that to start. And if I want to know how much time I've had in the air, I just flick my goggles up and have a look, and then bring them back down to pick up the flight. It gives me an idea of how long I can be up in the sky for. And like I say, this is the receiver that I've got for the 5.8 system, because I use base goggles. I got my base goggles here, and rather than have it in the ground away from me with all this lead tying me or tethering me to this, I've made this little device here with a bit of a crank on it, and just mounted it on the front there on Velcro, and I sit on a box that I bought from a local store that specialises in those things, toolbox, and I know my position in the air, and I can effectively just make sure that I follow the aircraft wherever I fly it. Simple as that. And having it like this as well means that when this is on, it doesn't get in the way in any way, shape or form. I was just trying to put my goggles on them, but I can't, because I've got my GoPro attached to my head. That's how I'm making the video. The other thing that I've done is, you can probably see this, I hope you can, this aluminium here that I've attached to the front of this 2.4 Futaba system, and I've bent it a little bit in the hope that it's reflecting. It's not total, it covers about half of the length of the aerial, so it's a bit of a compromise. I know some people have made these things and they call them windsurfers, and they actually attach them to the antenna. I've stepped this a little bit back. Again, I've tested it on the ground, and it doesn't have any negative effect. I just hope that I get a stronger signal as I follow the aircraft as it flies a bit away from me, and just makes my link that little bit stronger. Check, elevator okay, rudder, left, right, ailerons, forward and free movement, everything is fine. Okay, so start my clock, 1 second in, let's pick it up, over my head, winds from that direction, full power, and then off we go.